Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
Hello out there in Radio Land. This is Hank Hill, Assistant Manager, Strickland Propane. Come on down to Strickland where you can get a great deal on the new Char King 320 propane grill. We have other propane grills and propane accessories for your grilling needs. So come on down. Mention this ad for an extra 5% off of your next propane tank fill-up. That's Strickland Propane, Harlan, Texas. Have a great day.
I tried to fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, Season 3, Episode 8.
Episode 8, Good Hill Hunting.
Good Hill Hunting.
Yeah.
Good episode. Very family-centric, as always. And
yeah, for sure. It's a good old Texas tale right here of let's go down to the deer lease.
That's right.
Yeah.
Without any further ado, let's get to it. We start inside of Dale's house. This is before the credits, anything. And they're looking out the big picture window, and they are watching a deer eating his garbage.
Yep.
We get a yep, mm-hmm. And then Bill says, see, I told you it wasn't me going through your garbage. See, deer.
Deer.
Dale says, I guess we owe you an apology. I guess those were probably deer droppings, too. And Bill says, probably. Probably.
Yeah, you
and I love
so.
how this joke pays off at the very, very end of this episode.
Oh, the deer infiltrating the human quadrant joke.
And so he says those deer are infiltrating the human quadrant. They've replaced fire ants as the number one ex-urban pest. If oh my God, what is going on? I ate a bunch of garbage. If everything I know about exterminating is true, which it is, we've got to find the queen deer and take her out. Bill's like, queen deer?
The queen
I bet
deer.
she's beautiful.
Yeah, he's weird.
Dale says, and the best part is Joseph's finally old enough to come. He says, yep, I'm taking my boy on his first hunt the same way my dad took me 25 years ago. And we pan across and we see the hunting pictures on the wall, a big 6-point buck head. And then Dale turns to the deer and says, I am photographically memorizing your face. And then before that, he says, we're not just killing a deer, we're killing Joseph's childhood.
Yeah. He's becoming a man.
Bill says, look at that. He's staring right back at you. And Dale's just like, geet. Then we get our credits. The credits roll. And for your sister, no bell, no yell.
No bell, no yell.
We start up outside. They are packing up the back of Dale's dead bug because everybody in the neighborhood's going hunting.
The Bugabago.
God bless
Before we get canceled, yeah.
What
It's
did we
the
call it
Bugabago.
before when we didn't say Bugabago?
The dead bug van or something that.
Dead bugaboo. I'm just going to start saying it wrong just to make people tweet at us. So Dale says, okay, Hank, you can borrow my TacStar laser sight. It's Bobby's first hunt, so he'll need the Russian night vision goggles. My Joseph's got the bionic ear booster, and I'll be in charge of the good stuff. Dear wee wee. Super premium Estes.
Dear wee wee. Hey, Estes, we talked about that before. I told you. We talked about that.
Hank says, this is crazy. People used to go hunting. All they needed was an orange shirt and a six-pack. Dale says, times have changed, Hank, but you know all this if you were a hunter. For the love of God, man, go to church more than you go hunting. You should be ashamed. Everybody just starts laughing, and Hank says, I'm not ashamed. I'm glad there's people out there thinning the herd, but if you want to get sloppy drunk and shoot off guns with a bunch of guys,
I'll go to my
dad's Oscar party. Oscar party.
His dad's Oscar party, yeah.
Can you imagine Cotton having an Oscar party?
No, I cannot.
Oh, my God.
It would just be raucous shooting, yeah.
Oh, Dale says, Hank, a hunting trip's not just about getting drunk or shooting deer. It's about getting out in the woods, away from the government, where your paper money's useless unless you run out of leaves, where a man can let down his guard and share his biggest fears. Hank says, Dale, you with your guard down is my biggest fear. Dale says, my biggest fear is that little pointy, well, I'll save it for the trip. Hank says, you mean the beetle? He says, shut up. I was saving that for the trip. We are now in Dale's house with Joseph and Bobby. Bobby says he's trying to explain this to Joseph for the rest of us. He says, don't think of it as a rifle. Think of it as part of your body that fires the bullets.
Wow. We got to remember, Bobby's the crack shot now. We've already had the...
oh, yeah, it's true.
Bobby is the crack shot. We already know right now that Bobby is a better shooter than his dad could ever hope to be.
Joseph, that dumb little idiot, says, when the time comes, do you think you'll be able to, pull the trigger? Bobby says, oh, yeah. I don't want to be the only kid around who doesn't kill a deer. You get a loser nickname like, I don't know. Joseph says, Pork Pockets? Well, more about not killing deer, but yeah, we don't have to worry because we'll be hunting with our dads, a team. And then we get a flashback. It's not really a flashback. It's like a dream sequence, right?
Yeah.
So we get this dream sequence where Bobby and Hank are walking through the woods. An eagle flies by them, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We see all these animals around them, and they are just going through the woods looking for deer. And Hank stumbles, hurts his ankle, and a deer literally just gallops and jumps over him.
It's a wild sequence here.
Hank says, go get him, Bobby. And this is, of course, Bobby's dream. So Bobby says, no, we're a team. And then he puts Hank on his shoulders and starts carrying him with the gun in one hand and Hank over his shoulder.
And then he tells him, Bobby, I just want to say.
Well, this is after he kills him. Hang on.
Yeah.
They see the deer. But just jumped over him.
Yeah.
Bobby literally with one hand uses the rifle and just goes, pow!
Him,
The deer looks at him, nods to him, and then dies in front of him.
Yeah.
And Hank says,
Bobby, I just want to say that you are perfect and a man. Which is everything that Bobby wants to hear from his dad.
Well, and he shakes his hand.
Yeah,
He's like, congratulations,
buddy. You are perfect
Yeah.
and a man.
But just that nod from the deer is fantastic.
Oh, the nod is hilarious, yeah.
So the deer jumps over him, goes and just sits down and waits for Bobby to shoot him. Bobby shoots him with one hand, and the deer just goes, yep, you bested me, and just dies.
Yeah.
It's
nod.
fantastic. Yeah. And then we come back, and Bobby says, I don't mean to brag, especially about something that hasn't actually happened yet. Well, no kidding, Bobby. But it is his fantasy.
That is his fantasy.
He
just wants acceptance from his dad.
That's
his
right.
fantasy. It doesn't even matter about the deer. He just wants his dad to call him a man.
Absolutely true. We are back in the Hill house, and we're in the Hill kitchen. Peggy is sitting at the breakfast nook table or whatever you want to call it.
Whatever it is, yeah, the little breakfast area.
She's doing something, and Hank says, what's with the bandages? Luann's fixing to give you another haircut? You know, that's a real great joke.
Yeah, because her hair's I remember that when she cut her hair.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever she, and
then Luann was like, walking away laughing.
Yeah.
Peggy says, this is for you and Bobby to take on your hunting trip. You'll be ready for cuts, sprains, and I even put a needle and thread to sew your ear back on after Bobby talks it off. So she is thinking, boy, this is a way for these two.
Them two to go talk.
Oh, yeah.
Because he don't ever want to talk to his dad, and his dad doesn't ever want to talk to him because he doesn't know how to. He don't really know how to talk to his son because of the generational gap and the weirdness of stuff that his son likes because he has nothing in common with him really other than the fact that he's his son.
Hank says, yeah, and kind of laughs nervously, and he says, we'll be gossiping like schoolgirls. Peggy responds.
Yeah, he looks uncomfortable, yeah.
Peggy responds with, and I made a little hunting permit case out of a freezer bag. Give me your permit, and I'll stick it in. Hank, being unprepared, which is unlike Hank in this episode. That is the only thing I have about this episode. He is unprepared. He says, well, I hadn't really got the permit yet. Peggy is taken aback. She said, you didn't buy the permit yet? Hank, what is wrong with you? He says, nothing.
And this part right here was funny as hell to me. She goes, oh, that reminds me. Did you get the batteries for Bobby's Game Boy? And did you pack his backup Game Boy?
Backup Game Boy. Yeah, Hank is trying to get the focus off of him.
Game Boy.
Yeah, any way you can. Peggy says, Bobby's not bringing toys on this trip. And when was the last time he had 2 whole days spent just talking with his father? Hank says, I spend lots of time with Bobby. He's there when I eat. He's there when I watch TV. I've thrown countless balls at him in the backyard.
Yeah,
I want to understood that it says at him. It doesn't say that he's caught him. Peggy says, Hank, you're scared of being alone with him. He says, I am not. She says, you are scared of your own son. He says, well, maybe I am. So what? I don't get him sometimes. The thing that comes out of his mouth, and he's almost a teenager, so it's just going to get worse. And I don't know what we're going to talk about for 2 days, and hell yes, I'm scared.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Peggy says, this is an important milestone on Bobby's road to becoming a successful adult. One of the big 3. Okay, these are the big 3 for a kid growing up. Age 12, first hunt.
Okay.
Age 16, learns to drive. Age 18, finally turns 18.
Wow. That's it. Nothing else to look forward to for the rest of your life.
She says
12, 16, and 18. That's peak living.
Well, and the final one is the milestone is the milestone. You know?
Yeah, learns to drive. Age 18, finally turns 18.
He turns 18. She says, give him this milestone.
For me, it was porn and cigarettes. As soon as I turned 18, I
Same
went
day?
and bought a lottery ticket. Yeah, I did the same day. I went and bought a lottery ticket. I went and bought my first porn magazine, and then I went and bought a carton of cigarettes.
Very nice. That's what you call a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Peggy says, give him this milestone, Hank, so he can move on to the next, and eventually move out of the house, and then you won't have to talk to him at all. Hank says, all right, fine, I'll get the permit. Bobby will kill the deer, and everyone will live happily ever after. Just trying to get her off his ass.
That's it. That's all. He's just trying to get her
off. Next thing we see is Hank waking up in the bed with Bobby already dressed in all his hunting gear with a rifle in his hand.
Oh, he's
just
ready to
staring
go.
At his dad until he
he's
wakes
ready to
up.
Go.
That is some creepy shit, though.
The intensity of Bobby, though, and his hunting here is Bobby really is about it. Bobby's a shooter. He likes to go shoot, man. Bobby likes to shoot.
I don't know that I've ever heard Hank say this phrase, by the way.
I don't ever know that I've ever seen Bobby wake up that early to go do something.
Oh, that's true, too.
Yeah.
But he kind of, what? And he looks at Bobby and he says, Bobby, what are you doing in the master bedroom? I don't ever remember him saying master bedroom.
No, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Nobody says that.
Bobby says, truck's all packed, breakfast is cooked, and here's your robe, towel, and toothbrush, and sticks the toothbrush right in his mouth.
Yeah.
Which, Hank has got to appreciate being Hank, because he would be ready also.
Yeah, for sure.
Next thing we see is Hank shaving in the mirror. He is really lathering up, so he is an old school shaver. And he's singing, I'm a traveling man, made a lot of stops all over the world, and every poor little heart of a little
Ricky
girl.
Nelson?
Yeah, and then he goes, oh, hello, son, sees him in the mirror. Bobby is sitting on the back of the toilet with his feet on the seat with his rifle, by the way. Still got his rifle. And he says, oh, hello, son, what are you doing? He goes, watching. He said, and then Bobby asked him the weirdest question in the world. What does a razor smell like?
Weird
I
ass
bet it smells really good like metal. Metal does not smell good.
No, I don't know.
Metal always smells like that oil, like WD-40 or something like that.
I like the way old rusty metal smells.
That's gross. Hank says, yeah, okay, why don't you wait in the kitchen, Bobby? I can have a shave and talk at the same time. He says, that's okay, we don't have to talk.
That's so weird,
He's like, I'll just sit here and watch you.
I'll just sit here and watch you.
So we're back at Dale's Dead Bug Truck, the Bugaloo, and we've got Bill, Boomhauer, and Dale in the driveway, and Bill says, a boy's first buck. I remember my first buck. Took me 6 shots to bring him down, 3 more to finish him off. There was no usable meat left, but what a thrill. No usable meat left.
Yeah, but what a thrill.
Nancy comes out, and she is crying. She brings Joseph out. She's, oh, Shug, you're taking away my boy, and you're going to bring him home a man. And how long is that going to take exactly?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's planning on a red corn. She's planning on getting red corn.
Yeah, you've been red corn.
You've been red corn.
Hell yeah.
Dale says
cornholed. Yeah.
Oh God,
No.
Dale says, "Sorry, babe, you'll have to go without the big
D
D for at least two nights."
And then, that right there, the writing on that's
the big
fantabulous. Yeah.
John Redcorn comes driving up in his Jeep listening to "Hit Me With Your Best Shot."
Yeah, always rolling up listening to something.
He gets out and starts walking in. Dale's like, "John Redcorn?" He says, "Dale." He says, "You bring back that tea bag I lent you?" Lent him one tea bag?
Nah, this right here. Lent him a tea bag.
One tea
Who's
bag.
borrowing a tea bag? No, but I like this part because every time that he tries to connect with Joseph, Redcorn does. It's just like it does. It just falls.
It falls
just
on deaf
falls
ears.
so hard. And I like this
Yeah.
part. I have something for Joseph. Your first hunting trip is a sacred occasion. The deer you will kill will be your relative. You must show your respect for him and all the deer people first by giving thanks.
Dear people.
Deer people. By giving thanks, then by using every part of his body. No
And-
prob. Yeah. No prob.
What
bruh.
I like is while he's saying that, like that mystic music is playing, his hair's blowing in the wind. You know, it's just so nice. And then Dale's just like, "No prob. We're taking old Mr. Buck right to the rendering plant for sausagification."
Yeah.
Redcorn says, "This hunting knife was given to me by my father and to him by his father, and now I pass it along to you." And he unwraps this beautiful Bowie knife.
A
out
used
of this.
knife. Oh, cool.
Yeah, Joseph. He's
Yeah.
like, "Used knife. Cool. Thanks." So now we're in the hill driveway. We've got Peggy in her finest
that's
robe.
like I don't think like we truly understand how awkward these situations
super
would be in
awkward.
real life. The whole neighborhood knows, but like you're so oblivious to the fact that you don't see it. But you're all standing in the same place,
He has
talking
to know.
about this child,
Has to know.
talking about this child who has a quote unquote manly like biological father.
Yeah.
And like it's a coming of age
I mean, just
story.
look at
I don't
the
know.
kid.
It's just
All he has to do is
the
look at
amount
him.
of the amount of awkward that's in this episode is just like
All he has to do is look at the kid.
phenomenal.
That's it. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that is truly it, and you can tell whose kid he is, but Dale is just oblivious. So now we're in the driveway. Peggy, like I said, is in her finest bathrobe, and it's Hank and Bobby and Peggy. She said, "Let me hug my child one last time. Oh, my big boy about to become a little man. Honey, I filled your rifle bag with fruit pies. Your rifle is in your sleeping bag." Bobby says, "Thanks, Mom." Peggy. Dale, jumping over the fence, says, let's go. Hank says, "Just a second. There's one last errand I need to run." He says, "What do you need? Mike and Ike's? I got you covered." And picks up. I didn't really understand this. He's got a box of Mike and Ike's in his hand. He's just shaking over the
hell out
fence.
of him.
He said, "No." Hank says, "I just need to hop on over to the county office and pick up a couple of hunting permits. Don't worry, I'll be right back." And so he takes off to the Heimlich County tax office, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Because he
Or
needs to get a hunting permit, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's at the Heimlich County office. The guy at the counter says, who, by the way, is standing in front of a sign that says "Don't mess with Texas," which was
Don't
still a
mess
new
with
thing at that
Texas.
time, I believe.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, that slogan didn't come out, I think, until the 90s. And then he also has a list of permit fees behind him. I could not see what the fees are for, but they are $50, $75, $10, and $40. So those are all the permits you can get in Heimlich County.
That's a
There's
lot of
only 4 of
permits.
them. There's only 4 of them. The man at the counter says, "Can I help you?" Hank says, "Yeah, I'm taking my boy hunting, so I need a couple of permits. Oh, and one of those 'Don't mess with Texas' bumper stickers." The guy says, "No more deer permits this year." "What? Why not? They haven't been all shot. I caught one picking through my garbage. It's like it was New York City." New York City.
Yeah.
The guy says, "I know, they're a real nuisance. They're eating everything in sight." He goes, "Well, of course. There's too many deer and not enough food. Issue more permits and they'll all starve." Hank has a really good point here. And this is, I understand that hunting sometimes gets a bad rap because, people think that every hick's got a gun and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're truly a deer hunter and you go out only in deer season and go by the rules, you are performing a service.
Yeah, you are.
Because deer will
conservation.
reproduce to a point where they will starve to death.
It's conservation.
It is. It's conservation. It's just like controlled burns.
But
in
the
a
only
forest.
reason why we have to do these controlled things is because we have killed enough of the natural predators of these animals that the population can't control itself. Because generally, without us, there would be wolves, coyotes, everything else in the world to go out there and kill it.
I get it. But I'm saying,
but these systems are in place because of the conservation. We have to conserve what we've already tore up.
Here in Texas, we have a situation with feral hogs.
Oh yeah, they're shooting them from helicopters.
They are shooting them from helicopters or shooting them any way they possibly can and these hogs are not native to Texas. These were introduced
Russian
from Europe.
boars. Yeah.
And so the fact that they are back there just rooting and killing everything.
They're violent as hell too.
And tearing everything up and reproducing at a rate that is unimaginable.
No, it's literally you're talking about. I was in the Brazos River Valley down by Bryan College Station, and there's my friends, my kid's grandparents have a place down there.
Okay,
and his great grandparents, and we used to spend a lot of time on that when I was a kid. And there's literally patches that you can find out there, 30-acre patches of hogs. 30 acres.
Oh yeah.
We sat on a hill with a spotlight to go hog hunting.
Too, yeah.
We went to go hog hunting at night, and we shined the light down on the hogs, and you look down there, and there's literally 30 acres of hogs.
Yeah.
You shoot at one, you have 30 acres of hogs that are going to be running in every which direction. So
they run
slowly
in
back
packs,
the hell out of there.
They just they could kill people. Like
they're
crazy.
bad. They eat anything. They'll tear anything up. Yeah,
so he's got a really good point when he says there's too many deer and not enough food. They need to issue more permits or they're all going to starve. The guy at the counter says, yeah, I'm sorry, we had to limit it to 400 this year.
The environmentalists.
Yeah, it was the only way we could get the environmentalists off their hunger strike. Now, I understand the point, of them striking and trying to save the deer and all this, but it is misplaced. It is. I will go on record and say it is misplaced. Some of these deer need to go.
Yeah,
because
if
not,
go.
they will
it's
starve
overpopulation.
to death.
Yeah, they'll starve to death.
So
you'll have no good deer to eat. It'll just be a bunch of scrawny deers.
Hank says, so you're telling me my boy can't go hunting because you wouldn't let a couple of twig boys again.
Twig boys.
Starve, forget number 6, you're now serving nonsense. And he just storms out. Number 6 referring to the take a number, leave it.
Yeah. You're now serving nonsense.
We are now in front of Dale's house. Everybody is ready to go. And Connie says to Bobby, who both of them are dressed in their finest hunting gear, sitting on the back of a truck. And they're both holding rifles in the middle of the street.
Yeah, that's very Texas.
Yeah. Connie says, good luck on your hunting trip, Bobby. Thanks. Just so you know, I'm leaving a boy and coming back a man. Well, okay, that's not the way it works, Bobby, but sure. Connie says, you're lucky. I'm leaving a girl and coming back a man.
Did you come from a hunting family?
No, not really.
No.
I went hunting a few times. I killed a couple of rabbits. I couldn't do it. I just didn't have the stomach for it.
Yeah.
But
was your dad like a hunter though? Was it like no, he wasn't.
No. The only thing my dad ever hunted was fish. He's a big fisherman.
Oh, fishing.
I just never.
So you did a lot of fishing then.
I went on a lot of fishing trips. I didn't.
It was one of those things that you didn't enjoy either.
I just didn't enjoy it. I don't like waiting.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like. I was like, if you could hook a fish every like 10 seconds or 30 seconds, I'd be in there.
Now, I will say there were a couple of fishing trips where we went down the Navasota River here in Texas.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And
that's a beautiful river.
White bass were spawning.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you could literally drive your boat just slowly down the Navasota. They would jump in the boat. There were so many of them.
It's probably not like that anymore.
Bubbling up to the top. They would jump. I mean, it was crazy. That was a fun trip. I mean, because something was happening.
Yeah, something was going on. Yeah,
but all my life,
fishing's boring as hell. That's why they say a fishing trip without weed is a boring fishing trip.
All my life, though, I've just been a person who likes to do 3 things at once. So
I mean,
even today, I'll watch TV, be on my phone, and maybe be doing something on the computer all at the same time.
I like to keep a lot going too. But I don't know. Fishing is just always. Well, for me, it was just I just didn't like touching fish.
That part didn't really bother me.
I hated it.
But my brain just needed to stay busy, and it just wasn't enough.
No, it's not enough.
So anyway, they're both coming back men, which is fantastic. Con shouts from back in the back and says, hey, Con Jr., I'm in the car. You ride shotgun. Don't forget my raisin bagels. They're in my briefcase. Raisin bagels in his briefcase. That's great.
Yeah.
So Hank pulls up in the truck, he says, all right, everyone, let's go. You guys go on ahead. Bobby, hop in. And then he tells Bobby, there's something I need to tell you. Everybody pulls out. Hank pulls them into the driveway, and Bobby says, no, me first. I know I'm about to be a man, Dad, so I just wanted to take the last chance to tell you how much I love you. How nice of Bobby, right? This is a seminal moment in this kid's life.
Well, it's good, but it's also sad because he's saying, I wanted to take this last chance.
Well, he's going to be a man.
Like,
Can't do it when he's a man.
Yeah, I'll never be able to tell my dad I love him again because he's going to be a man. Yeah,
I am on Bobby's side there. And Hank says,
I'm not. I tell my dad I love him all the time.
I'm just kidding. Hank says, you might want to take this last chance to cry, too, because we're not going. And on that, we are going to take a commercial break, and we will be right back. Hey, guys, this is Mike from Bois. I'm here with Rusty, and I wanted to tell you about something that's coming up. RogueCon 23 here in Waco, Texas. This is a Creators Con that we're going to have January 20th through the 22nd. 3 days of family-themed fun. We're bringing creators from all over, and we're talking TikTokers, YouTubers, podcasters, anybody and everybody that creates. We're bringing them here to town, and we're doing it across 6 locations downtown. It's going to be a huge 3-day weekend that I don't think this city's ever seen. It's going to be some cool stuff.
Not for creator cons. We've never had a creator convention before.
So we're gonna have it at 6 different locations. Like I said, we'll be doing live podcasts. We'll be doing demos, panels. Got a guy who's going to throw some snakes at you. I've got maybe some wrestling. I've got tons of live music, live events. And you can check it all out at roguecon23.com. That is ROGUECON 23.com. Get your tickets. It's $10 a day, or you can get the whole damn weekend for $20, which I don't know of any sort of value like that. That's a fantastic value.
That's a steal and a deal.
And in addition, everything you go to those 3 days, you get a ticket for. You take those tickets and you show up on Sunday, throw them in the hopper, and we're going to be giving away prizes.
Oh, wow.
So it's a good weekend.
A lot of prizes.
It's a great way to do some stuff in the new year. Again, January 20th through the 22nd here in Waco, Texas. 6 locations, all in downtown Waco. Go to roguecon23.com for your tickets. Do it now. Rusty, I see you just lit a beautiful candle.
Yeah, one of the St. Angeles candles.
St. Angeles. We've been looking forward to these.
Yeah, they finally came in.
What scent we got there?
We have St. Tropez. I'm probably saying that wrong, but we'll go with it.
St. Tropez.
St. Tropez.
St. Tropez. St. Tropez.
St. Tropez.
I think it's Tropez. I think.
Know. I like the way it
sounds.
Yeah,
it's islands, right? It's a certain group of islands.
Yeah, it's got a very floral scent.
I don't like the fact that you're sitting here smelling your fingers. But
what's the wax like?
Oh,
the wax from the. I'm not smelling my fingers because I dug in my butt.
It does smell fantastic, though. Yeah, I really like it. So tell me about these candles.
The candles are a collaboration.
Smell it too hard, the fire gets on your mustache.
With St. Angeles.
St. Angeles
candles. Dominique.
Yeah, Dominique and her candles.
She has sent me one of each of her candles.
Wow!
You also have a box on the way, Mike.
Holy crud!
And yeah, so they smell. This one smells wonderful.
It really does smell
very
good. Yeah,
floral, tropical. Because flowers,
relaxing.
Flowers in a meadow smell different than flowers by the beach.
Sure.
So it's got like a very beachy tropical flower smell.
It does. Yeah, it's very good. I like it.
Like I could be, it's like maybe like a hint of salt, like a salty
I like the way
beach and floral.
I like the way the wick maintains a fire. Also, that's very nice.
Yeah. So St. Angeles candles, everybody. You can go to St.Angeles.com/candles.
Yeah.
And you could use code KOTH20.
KOTH20.
That's a discount code on there. So, yeah, if you go on there and check it out, we'd appreciate you checking her candles out. And,
beautiful, lovely smelling.
Lovely candles.
Make a great gift.
And we'll have
give it to your mom.
And add a week until the candles
sister.
are done. So until we're done with her whole line of candles, we'll be letting you know about each one. And this one was St. Tropez. The The candle company was established in 2020 in Los Angeles, California, by Dominique, and she goes by the name St. Angeles. And you can find all of her content at St. Angeles on Instagram, and I think on YouTube as well is where her podcast is. And we appreciate you guys, and please go support St. Angeles Candles.
Give me that code one more time for a discount.
KOTH20.
St. Angeles. They smell great. Go buy a candle. All right, and we are back. This is a tough one right here. It's one of my favorite scenes of all time, but it is a tough one.
For sure.
Hank and Peggy are inside watching Bobby fart around in the backyard through the sliding glass door, and Bobby is setting up a huge, it looks like a refrigerator box, right? And he's drawn a crude deer on it, and he's taping a fruit pie to the heart of the deer.
Yeah, he is.
Hank says, in trying to make up for his mistake, Hank says, you see that? He's already practicing for next season. I tell you what, Peggy, this extra year under his belt, he's not only going to be a man, he's going to be a Superman. How do you like that? Our son, a Superman. And just kind of chuckles. Peggy is having none of it.
No, she ain't having not a damn bit of it.
She's
pissed.
She says, you have no clue, do you? Would you look at him? He's at the age where little boy hormones get violent. They don't call them nice, quiet, well-behaved hormones. They're raging, Hank. He has a chemical need to kill. I was counting on you to channel that need away from humans. And then it cuts to Bobby.
Peggy that's almost Dale. Like you would think Dale would say some shit like that.
Bobby has like one of those little pellet guns, but it's like a handheld gun that shoots, and all I can imagine is it shoots those little discs. You remember the guns that shoot the little discs?
Yeah, the little disc guns. Yeah, the little disc shooters.
So he shoots one, and it
or
busts,
the rubber band guns.
Yeah, and it busts the fruit pie. Bobby goes over, gets the fruit pie, eats part of it with his hands, and then smears the rest of it on his face, looks up, and just like a primal scream, almost as like an exclamation point at the end of Peggy's point here. She goes, I'll be looking my bedroom window tonight, so please be in by 10. It's a wonderful scene.
That is a wonderful scene.
Wonderful scene.
The primal urge to kill.
They don't call them nice, quiet, well-behaved hormones. They're raging, Hank.
They're raging. He has a chemical need to kill.
So next, we're with Dale and Joseph in the woods. They have set up a hunting blind. They got camo all around them. I mean, this is a first-class setup they got going on.
Yeah, they got it ready to
go.
They're all blinded up.
Yeah, Dale's got his headsets on. And they are trying to communicate between each other, Dale and Joseph. He said, Red Dog 1 is Red Dog 3. Do you copy? Over. Joseph says, 10-4, Red Dog 3. And then you hear squawk, squawk, like it squelches.
Yeah.
And Dale, of course, because he screams at everything. Damn inferior Soviet surplus merchandise never does what it's supposed to. And then you get the Dale part of Joseph coming out where he says, or maybe it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Maybe it just bounced a signal off a satellite to attack sub in the Gulf of Mexico whose mission is to read our brainwaves. Dale says, that's my boy. I was about to say precisely the same thing, except the sub's in Lake Superior. Just rubs him on the head. Oh, good boy. Next we see Bobby. Bobby's a little depressed. He is he's face down on the carpet in the living room. This is second or third time Bobby has taken this approach to being depressed.
He manages it very well.
Just goes face down into the carpet. Peggy from the kitchen is like, what are you doing, Bobby? He said, nothing. There's a spider in the kitchen. Would you like to come kill it? No, thanks. Okay, then. And then you just hear whack. She kills that spider.
She does it herself, yeah.
Now we're in bed with Hank and Peggy again. Again, I will comment on the fact that I didn't realize they were in bed so much in this show. Hank is snoring away, boy. He is sleeping hard.
Snoring, yeah.
And Peggy is reading papers with her itty-bitty headlight on again.
Yeah, she's got the little headlight.
And she said, Hank, wake up. I just want to tell you that I'm learning more about how you destroyed Bobby's life. Good God, Peggy. That is
Peggy's
a
crazy.
Terrible thing to say. She says, I searched through my old social studies files, and look what I found. A tribe in Papua New Guinea, a boy who misses out on a rite of passage, in their case, killing a missionary, remains a boy forever. He will never become a man. Hank says, this is a report by a 7th grader, and it only got a C.
Yeah.
She goes, well, I got backup. Look at this 4th grade word find about the Huron Indians, rites of passage. And she holds up the word find, and the words madness, killing, and manhood are all circled in red.
Yeah.
Who is doing this word
I
find with
don't
a
know.
4th
This
grader?
is a wild word find, yeah.
And Hank says, well, I did see Bobby talking to the Mrs. Butterworth bottle, but I didn't think it was that strange at the time.
Oh, it's strange.
So we're now at Strickland Propane the next day, and Eustace is there, Randy's dad.
Useless Eustace.
He's trying real hard to pick up a propane tank, and have you ever picked up a propane tank? They're not that heavy. I mean, they're heavy when they're full, but they're not that heavy.
Yeah, depending on which size, which size.
Well, this is a
propane tank.
regular old squatty one, a little
they're
tiny one.
small, yeah.
And Eustace
they're nothing.
says, "Oh, Hank, could you give me a hand carrying this out to my SUV?" Because he can't pick it up. Hank says, Eustace, I've never seen you in here before. Finally decided to make the switch to propane, huh? I think you'll find the perfect choice for all your... And Eustace interrupts him and says, no, thanks. We use passive solar. Hank picks up this propane tank like it weighs nothing and puts it right under his arm.
Like it
he's
weighs
just,
absolutely.
here we go.
It's pretty strong.
So
go,
it
Hank
does show
Hill.
the strength of Hank, yeah.
Yeah.
He says, no, the propane's for cooking Randy's deer. Once he kills it, of course. Hank says, what? You're going to take that son of yours? And that was rough the way he said that. That son of yours hunting? Eustace says, oh, I've got to. It's a rite of passage. At least that's what the feeling in my men's group. That's why I'm not taking any chances. And he says, La Grunta. And he hands Hank a pamphlet. Now, on this pamphlet, I'll go ahead and tell you the rest of what Eustace says. He says, La Grunta Hotel and Resort does a hunt every year. They take care of everything, guns, permits, hunt, taste wine tasting. Hank says, permits, cushion shooting stands, heated blinds with automatic corn feeders.
Yeah,
well, that's not
what
the
is
hunting.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, that's not hunting. That's shooting fish in a barrel.
It sounds like glamping.
Eustace says they have that too. Now, on this pamphlet, I want you to see this. I drew a nice little picture of the pamphlet.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's a great picture.
So you've got the sun laying in a little chair there, like a pool lounge chair. With a for some reason the sun has an umbrella over it, and it says La Grunta Ranch. And then on the next page of the pamphlet, you've got 3 animals at the top. You got a deer head, a duck, and a rabbit. They have well-stocked ranges, temperature-controlled blind, automatic feeders, cushioned seats, and then the last thing on the list, free skinning service.
Oh, wow.
So that's
you
nice.
even have to skin your own deer.
Yeah, they skin your deer for you.
Oh, damn, that's lazy. That's terrible. You go out there and kill it and can't even skin it.
And then, according to Eustace, they also have shooting fish in a barrel. You can do that while you're there.
Yeah, shooting fish in a barrel.
So the next thing we see is Bobby outside just aimlessly riding his bike in circles out in the street. He is so bored. He hates the fact that he didn't get to go hunting. He rides up to a little boy who we've never seen before with a tiny little cowboy hat, and the kid's on a big wheel riding around. And he goes, hey, you want to ride bikes with me? Bobby's like,
Okay.
Okay. He just like, okay, last thing, whatever, who cares?
Whatever.
Then we're back to Joseph and Dale in the deer blind. And Dale is explaining to Joseph something about the Trilateral Commission, and we join him mid-sentence. He goes, which brings us to the Trilateral Commission, ironically named because there's actually 4. Joseph says, Dad, I think I hear a deer. I better go have a look. And he goes around the corner. This is when the deer comes in and just stares at Dale.
Yeah.
And then starts to charge him, and he ah! And then he chunks the gun over to Joseph, and Joseph shoots the deer as it attacks Dale. Dale gets up and just like, ooh, yeah.
Nice shot, son.
Joseph's like, nice throw, Dad. He says, nice shot, son. He says, we make a trick team, don't we? Yep, the gribble doesn't fall far from the tree. Next, we are back with Bobby and this little kid on the big wheel, and now Bobby has a tiny cowboy hat on, and they are playing cowboys, I guess, because Bobby is over here just going pew, 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 pew. And Hank drives by and sees this, and it feels like Bobby is regressing in age.
Yeah.
Here. He says,
Bobby,
Bobby,
his childhood.
Bobby, yeah, he says, Bobby, stop playing. Stop playing dead. Get up before someone sees you, because Bobby has pretended to be dead after this little kid shot him. And he goes, what is that, Dad? Dad, is that you? Everything's so dim. He says, Bobby, get up. I'm not going to make it. You're not injured.
The gold is buried.
The gold is buried. It's buried. He says, stand up. And then Connie and Con drive by, and they got a big old deer strapped to the top of that minivan of theirs. She says, Bobby, look what I got. Yeehaw. And Bobby looks at her. He goes, I got shot in a holdup. She goes, what? And again, Hank not wanting any part of this. He goes, he's fine, Connie. He had an allergic reaction to a fruit pie. That's all. While he's dragging Bobby's body, because Bobby refuses to get up, he starts dragging him, and he drags him by Dale's house, and everybody is there with Dale's dead bug, with the deer strapped to the top of it.
To the van, yeah.
Everybody comes out, including Redcorn, who is still getting his shirt on.
Yep. He was hanging a little too long.
They're all coming out to see the kill. And Dale says, hell yeah, look at this beaut. How about this kid, Hank? Excuse me, how about this man? Bobby says, look at me. Everybody's got a deer and I don't. Everything looks so Christmassy. He looks all around the neighborhood, and every single person there has a damn deer on their car. It looks so Christmassy. He goes, now I know how the Jewish kids feel. That's a great line. Hank says, Bobby, how'd you like to trade in that cowboy costume for a hunting permit? Bobby says, what, do you mean it? You got a permit? He goes, I got better than a permit. I got La Grunta.
Yeah.
So Hank is feeling super bad about this at this point, and he sees Bobby regressing and stuff, and he thinks that this is really the only way to save Bobby. So the next thing we're at La Grunta. It just looks like a big fancy hotel.
Yeah, that's all it looks like.
They walk in the lobby. You got a big fountain. You got auto double glass doors. You got fancy music playing. I mean, it's like a big fancy hotel.
Thing,
yeah. And Bobby says, ooh, this is fancy. Where do the deer stay? Does the kid really think the deer stay in the hotel?
I don't know.
Hank says they don't keep the deer in a hotel. God, I hope not. They walk up to the reception desk, and the girl at the reception desk says, hi, I'm Beverly La Grunta. No relation. How can I help you? Okay. How in the hell is her name La Grunta, and she works at La Grunta, and she's not?
Because she's lying.
Oh, well.
I think she's the owner's daughter.
That could be it. Yeah, and she's told, tell them you don't have any relation.
Fibs.
Why wouldn't you just change your last name then? Just pretend.
Maybe she doesn't like to pretend.
It's the perfect crime.
It is the perfect crime.
Hank says, we're here to deer hunt. She goes, wonderful. The shuttle leaves in a half hour. It's $400 for two. Would that be cash or credit? Hank's like, oh my God, $400.
Yeah.
Says, hey, Bobby, look at all this other stuff we can do. And he goes over to
we could golf or
the big
swim with a
pamphlet
dolphin?
rack that you see in the lobby of hotels.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
always
yeah.
like, world's biggest ball of string.
400.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to grab one of every one of them.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Just
to
read
them.
them.
Sure,
Just to read them,
sure.
yeah. Well, I like to read when I was a kid, so I would read anything.
I would go over and turn them all upside down.
I would read them all, and I'd be telling my mom and dad about let's go do this, let's go do this, and they would be like, we have an itinerary. And I'd be like, well, itinerary, this is free. We go do this. This is free. I'd always look for the free stuff.
It's
that was
all
the easy
free,
stuff to talk to get them into going.
It's all free, but they all want you to go through their gift shop.
Yeah.
So he goes, hey, Bobby, look at all this other stuff. We could golf or swim with a dolphin. And Bobby says, can I hunt it? He wants to hunt a dolphin. He goes, doesn't say. And he goes, oh, here you go. Museum of Miniatures, $40 and worth every penny if you ask me. And Bobby is starting to get upset. He goes, oh, don't get upset now. I was just teasing you, just testing you. You passed. And then he gives the lady his credit card finally. $400 is a lot for Hank.
400. Well, I don't understand how $400 is a lot for Hank when we were just discussing.
How he paid the maid so much.
Yeah, how he paid the maid a living wage.
Yeah.
Like, how could you pay somebody a living wage?
Yeah, he paid her a lot. But I don't know. I don't know how much Hank makes. It doesn't seem like it'd be that much.
It doesn't, but if he doesn't make that much, how could he afford a maid or a living
he's got a
wage
credit
for
card,
a maid?
Which is also weird for Hank. I wouldn't think he would have
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Because remember, he had trouble buying,
dryer.
was it? A dryer.
Was it a dryer?
Dryer, washer, something like that.
Yeah,
it was
housing
one of those
appliance.
Two. Yeah. So they pull up at
it was the dryer because she was hanging his underwear up outside.
That's
it was
right.
The washer, the dryer. Well, that was the dryer.
They pull up at the La Grunta Ranch. They pull up in a big shuttle bus that looks like one of those that they take the old people around in. There's Randy with Eustace, And Randy says, "Hey, Bobby, look at my deer." And then he says, he shot it all by himself. They wrapped it at the gift shop.
I like that line. That's a great line.
They wrapped it at the gift shop. Now we're out in the Bobby and Hank are out in the woods, but you can tell it's a very controlled environment because it's got fencing and all this stuff, and they're kind of sneaking around. And then they come around the corner, and a big pheasant comes out from the tree, and so, and Bobby's like, "Oh, it's beautiful." Hank says, "Boy, you said it. Now, careful when you walk. Deer can hear the rhythmic pattern of human footsteps." Bobby says, "Gotcha." And then all of a sudden you hear, and the guy drives up on a four-wheeler. Guy says, "There's an open stand in pasture 2 with your name on it. That'd be Hill, right?" So there's no reason to even whisper. There's no anything, right? There's no actual hunting involved here, and that comes to be the actual problem.
Shooting fish in a barrel.
What a sport. Next, we're in the hunting blind with Bobby and Hank, and Bobby, who still doesn't get the fact that this is all controlled and stuff. He goes, "I will never forget this moment, Dad. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. When I'm a man, do I still get my allowance or do I get up to minimum wage?" Hank thinks that's funny because he says,
That is funny.
"Well, son, now that you're going to be a man, you're going to have more responsibilities, and maybe you do deserve a little more each week." And then we hear this whirring sound, and the friggin' deer feeder goes off right underneath them. And all of these deer come up to feed.
Yeah.
And the deer don't even look at them. I mean, they
Not
are
at
not
all. They're
in
not
the
worried about it.
least bit scared of them. They've been conditioned to this. Bobby pulls out his gun and he starts lining one of them up. And he says, "I think I'm going to shoot the one on the left. What do you think, Dad?" And Hank says, "I don't think you have to whisper anymore, Bobby." Bobby is aiming at the deer and he goes, "Squeeze, don't pull." And then he stops. He goes, "This isn't right, is it, Dad?"
Nope.
Hank says, "No, it isn't, son." The next thing we see, they're in the truck headed home. So
yeah, that's it.
they didn't shoot fish in a barrel.
They didn't shoot fish in a barrel.
Didn't shoot deer that aren't afraid of them.
Well, they come to terms with the
Didn't
fact
hunt.
that it's not the same. It's not a hunt.
They didn't hunt.
It's not the same.
That dog don't hunt.
Shooting a deer like that, it just isn't the same. It's just like it's the thin line between conservationism
It's cruelty.
and hunting.
Honestly, if you ask
Well,
me.
because they do these kind of things in certain places in the world where people get pissed off when people go shoot a giraffe and stuff like that, where you see those things on social media,
Sure.
and then people are like, "Oh, why the hell are they killing a giraffe?" Not knowing that the hunter that killed that giraffe goes to a native village and they eat the giraffe. They use every part of the giraffe, because that at one point, I mean,
including
that's
that long neck bone.
yeah, whatever it is.
Big neck bone.
It's whatever they kill, whether it be a giraffe
I know
or
what you're
whatever.
saying. I'm just kidding.
And it's I don't know. I guess it's just not the same. I don't know if it's cruel, but it's
I think
just
it's cruel. You're raising these things to be killed. That's nuts.
well, raising things to be killed is nuts. Yeah, like the leases where you pay, like the pay for leases where you go pay, and they specifically
Wild.
they're squared off with like big fences. That's not the kind of hunting I like
We'll
to
go on
do.
a rhino hunt. Well, there's 4 of them right there. They've all been raised in this captivity. Let's go shoot one. That's
yeah,
crazy.
no, I don't like that.
So they're back in the truck, back in the big red truck, and they're headed home. And Hank says,
okay, you brought up a good raised to hunt, but what about raised to eat? So everything that we
pigs,
eat is
chickens,
raised
sure.
to eat.
Cattle.
They're all treated worse than these raised to kill deer are, because these deer right here are high ticket. Like they're treated elegant. They're fed elegant. They're fed really good and treated really well.
Yeah, but I would
Whereas
say,
like our chickens, they're stuffed all in like small pens, and they're pumped full of hormones where they can barely walk.
you speak for your chickens. Don't speak for my chickens.
Well, a lot of the chicken that people eat, I don't. I personally try to source all my food local and
I do not.
as free range as I possibly can. I do as much of that as I possibly can. It's hard to do it with everything.
Yeah, that is tough.
It's a game, But as far as my meat and stuff goes, I try to source all my meat at least that way.
So they're back in the big red truck, or the little red truck, I guess, in their case. And
Yeah, the Ford Ranger.
Yeah, Hank says, "I'm sorry, Bobby. I guess it really let you down today, didn't I?" Bobby says, "It's okay. I know you didn't mean for it to be this horrible." It's horrible. He's got a little bit of his mother in him.
Well, that's the thing is, and again, it's like I think that Hank is struggling. I think every dad, because I know I had a lot of battles with my dad when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Every dad struggles to let go of the fact that their boy. I know I'm struggling with it right now because my kid's turning. He's this age.
Yeah.
They're becoming a man. It's like, well, I'm no longer. You're at some point you're not gonna need me to protect you, and I feel like that's a struggle for a lot of dads.
True.
Even Hank, the hard ass that he is, he doesn't want his son to get older. He doesn't even care that he skips this or, it slows life down for him because you only get like that. You only get that feeling once.
That's true. You only get it. You get it one time around. That's all you get with your kids. Savor it. And now back to the program. Hank says, there's plenty of worse things than getting to hold on to your boyhood for a while, a couple of the year. He goes, and by holding on to your boyhood, I don't mean. I just thought that was funny as hell.
Yeah, I do too. That's a good one.
I did not remember that joke.
That's a good joke. Yeah, that's a really good joke.
Bobby says, I know, Dad. I know. Look at it this way. It gives me an extra year to learn from the man I'd most like to be when I finally become a man. And Hank's like, damn it, Bobby, this just ain't right. You're 12 years old. You're a good son. You deserve better than this. I'm going to skip you ahead 1 year, one whole milestone. I'm going to let you drive my truck. And he pulls over on the side of the road, and Bobby's like, what? He's crazy happy. And Hank says, you heard me. Well, come on, grab some wheel. He goes, I don't believe it. I'm in your seat. He scoots over and gets in his seat. Hank says, well, we gotta fix this for you. You got to reach the pedals. And so he scoots the seat up. And he goes, believe it, Bobby, it's real, and it's really happening. He goes, now you got to reach the pedals. And, like, he moves the seat up.
Fixes
and he goes,
the mirror.
Now we got to fix your mirror. Okay, start her up. Now, that's the gear shift, and that's the brake. And, well, you've seen the movies. You know how it works. Let's go. You've seen the movies.
You've seen
know
the
how
movies,
it works.
yeah.
He goes, let's go. Keep it steady. That's good. He's driving along. Oh, Bobby's like, this is so cool. I'm driving the hell out of this truck, aren't I, Dad?
That. That's one of my favorite lines. I'm driving the hell out of this truck.
Hank says,
well, hell, I love you too, Dad.
Hank says, you sure are, son. You sure are. And then a deer jumps out in front of him. And Hank said, brake. He goes, oh, no, I hit a deer with your truck. Bobby literally hits and kills the deer right there.
Yeah.
Hank says, oh, God, yeah, you did. It's a good, clean kill. Yep, a good kill. So Bobby turns from frantic into happy.
Because he got him a deer.
He got him a deer, yeah. So they come pulling up at home. Peggy and Luann are inside, and Peggy sees them and says, oh, they're home. Hank says, you should have seen it, Peggy. Came out of the woods and charged right at us, but Bobby took care of it. No problem, didn't you, boy? I mean, man. Peggy's like, oh, my son, my big, strong, normal son. Dale and everybody else starts filing out. He goes, nice going, Bobby. Did you look at the rack on that thing? Bill starts pointing at it. There's your sausage parts right there.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, nice going, Bobby. Way to go, Bobby. Bobby says, I couldn't have done it without my dad. Now, a couple things. We see a Polaroid of Bobby being taken with the deer. Not sure who had a camera because I didn't see one at all.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then Peggy comes out and sprays the blood off the truck and kisses Hank, so she knows exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And you wanted to what?
I wanted to talk about the Texas Park and Wildlife rules and regulations about that. So if you hit a deer on the highway, like the actual stuff that you're supposed to do is you're actually supposed to call the Texas Department of the local game warden dispatcher. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to find out who your local game warden dispatcher is when you hit a deer.
Right.
You call your game warden dispatcher. The dispatcher then, I guess, sends somebody to you or whatever. If the deer's not dead, if you just injured it, you call them and let them know there's an injured deer. But if it's dead, you just move it off the highway and leave it there because the Texas Department of Transportation removes dead animals every so often off the side of the highways. So there's a job specifically for that for TxDOT. Okay, so it is illegal to tag the deer and take it with you. And it's illegal to be found with any body part from that deer or anything. It is against the law. And if you know anything about game wardens and stuff like that, they have they're granted certain permissions and stuff like that. They're allowed to go and do certain things that different law enforcement isn't. So they're allowed to inspect your fridge if you're suspicious of having illegal meat. Like they can come in your house and check your fridge for the meat or whatever if you're suspected of
Wow.
it. Like they operate at a higher deal, which is funny because game wardens are then put in situations by other law enforcement agencies where there's suspected other stuff going on, where they'll have a game warden go and do, you know, hey, well, this person might have this gun or this deer or whatever, and then they'll like end up like doing drug raids and stuff like that, helping like FBI and things like that. So the Texas wildlife is the game wardens in Texas don't mess with them.
They're no
They'll take your
they're no
shit.
joke. They're no
Because they could take your truck.
But that's good information. That's really
well, it
good
is. Well, I mean,
information,
you know, if you illegally hunt or you do something like this, they could take your everything that was used in the commission of committing that crime.
Yeah.
So if you hauled it out in a trailer and you had a truck that was hauling the trailer and the gun that used it, they could confiscate everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just be smart with it, please.
So last thing I want to point out about this scene, everybody from the neighborhood comes out, with the exception of Nancy, by the way. I don't see Nancy in the crowd.
Yeah.
They all come out to see Bobby's deer, and it's Peggy, Connie, Joseph, Bill, Dale, Boomhauer, Redcorn, Con,
everybody,
Min. Everybody
the whole
comes out, right?
neighborhood.
Luann has short hair in this one. Last episode, her hair was grown.
Yeah.
This episode, she's still got short hair. These are out of order, I believe, unless I'm just seeing things. It seems to me that Luann
They
has short
might be
hair
out
in
of
this
order.
one. Yeah.
I wonder what let me see here. The call signs or whatever on them might be. Let me see if I could crack this mystery here.
But that Polaroid of Bobby is really kind of the end of this this episode, and it's a good episode.
Yeah, actually, if you look at the production numbers for Good Hill Hunting, it says 3 ABE 04. The 2 episodes previous to this, the 3 episodes previous to this one are 3 ABE 02, 05, 07, and 08. So
it may be out of order.
So it is definitely. So her hair might be short again in other episodes.
Well, she's got kind of that mid bob of hers, right? Like where it's grown out some, but it's not to the point where it's even like sticking out. You know,
yeah.
It's anyway. Go back and look at that, and you guys tell us, Artie. Maybe that's something you need to look at.
Something Artie can figure
but
out.
It really
for
does
us.
look to me like Luann has shorter hair in this one, and so this may be out of order. This is the end of the episode, but we get the credits to start coming up, and very rarely do we get one of these, but we get kind of a last scene. Bobby's sneaking out at night and getting in Hank's truck, pretending to drive. And he's making car sounds and all this stuff. And then he turns on the headlights. And what does he see in front of him? He sees Bill digging through the damn trash. So this is when that joke pays off.
That joke paid off, yeah.
Bill looks back at him like a raccoon with red eyes, and he just continues digging through the garbage. And Bobby just turns the lights off so he doesn't have to see that. I love how that joke planted at the very first of this episode pays off after the credits.
Yeah,
That's
it was
fantastic.
great. Yeah, it was great. It was
And
good.
last
That was a
thing
good
we
joke.
hear after we get the entire credits is, "I'm driving the hell out of this truck."
I'm driving the hell out of this truck. Hell
Great
yeah.
episode.
That's one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah,
I
very
like
good
that
stuff.
one. I like those coming of age stories that they do so often in King of the Hill. There's
They
a
get
lot of those.
that, yeah. All right, tell them where they can find us.
You can find us at linktr.ee/BWAAAKOTH. You can also email me at bwaaAKOTH@gmail.com. I'd appreciate any and all interactions, and I do message back and try to respond in a timely manner to all sensical messages.
Sensical.
Yeah, I don't. If it's nonsense, I'm just moving on
Sure.
with it. But yeah, we appreciate you guys sticking around with us for season 3.
Yeah.
We're getting into the thick of it. I guess we're season 3, episode 8. How many episodes is there? Let me see.
22.
25.
25.
25. So
Wow.
we're not even halfway there yet, but we're moving on through, guys. So
And
loving it.
we'll see you guys again Friday for a very special episode.
Wimatanye. Wimatanye.
See ya.
The Gulag.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.